Welcome back to Normal Baseball. The Rays are continuing to dominate and set new records. The Astros have finally found their footing as they swept the Braves in Atlanta, and much more. Let's get into it. What's going on? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Normal Baseball Podcast. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. We had a lot of fun baseball this weekend, a lot of interesting series, a lot of interesting players, individual players, and just a fun time as always this weekend with baseball. Lewis, how you feeling?
Loved it. Another great week of baseball in the books, and I'm excited to get into this episode.
Me as well. Like I said, a lot of interesting stuff happened. We saw a lot of teams continue to steamroll. A couple teams slowed down. A couple teams continued to be bad. So we're going to start off with the obvious, talking about the current best team in baseball, record-wise, the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays are currently 19-3, which is by far the best in baseball right now. Mm-hmm. They have not lost at home. They are 13-0 at home. Their plus 88 run differential is the highest through a team's first 22 games of the season in MLB history. It just feels like this team can't lose right now.
It certainly feels that way.
They've played bad teams. We've said it every single time, but still going 19-3 is very impressive. They just played the White Sox. They swept them at home. 2 walk-offs. One from Brandon Lau, a home run, and a walk-off single from Randy Arozarena. It seems like they can't lose, and it's incredible. What do you think, Lewis?
I agree with you. It is incredible. It kind of blows my mind a little bit to think that not only are the Rays doing this, but they're doing it against the teams that they have to do it against. You know, like we get on a lot of other teams. Let's just say the Cardinals, for example, who are off to a really bad start. And they're not beating the teams that they should beat. Like their record could obviously be a lot better if they beat the teams that everyone expected them to beat. And the Rays are kind of living up to all that expectation of, hey, we expect you to go in and sweep the Tigers at some point. We expect you to go in and beat the Nationals at some point. So everyone should be sweeping the Athletics, if not winning the series at all, right? And then you have guys like the Red Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays, who are a good team. They lost the series to them. Now this most recent 2 series in Cincinnati and Chicago, they win both of those series. It's impressive. They're beating the teams and they're playing exactly how they should be against each team.
Yeah, this is what you want from your team.
Yep.
Like you said, when you do play these bad teams, you want to take advantage of it. Say they were, instead of 19-3, they were 14-8. That would look a lot worse than 19-3 does. Especially playing the bad teams. How much worse that would feel for fans. And this feels great for their fans. They are actually like having a decent attendance at the stadium, which is like first time in what feels like a while, even when they were good. But it's very exciting for fans, Tampa fans, baseball fans in general, and just what they've been able to do. Yeah. Another record we didn't even talk about that they did set was They even extended it on Sunday, which is 2 past the record, so they're just continuing to go, is most games to start the season with at least 1 home run, like team home run. They have set the record. They set the record on Saturday with 21 games to start the season with a home run for their team, and they extended the record to 22 on Sunday with another player of theirs, multiple players of theirs hitting home runs in that game. So it's wild. Right now, I believe they also lead baseball in home runs. Yeah, 48 home runs leads baseball as a team. They're just firing on all cylinders. It's honestly kind of wild. It's just wild to me. And I love it. Like I said, they also, not to mention, lead baseball in ERA, their pitching staff. They lead baseball in shutouts. What else? What else we got? They're good. They're very good. They lead baseball in WHIP. Batting average against. They lead baseball. It's just everything is firing at the same time, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful watching Tampa Bay Rays baseball right now.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that. 110%. Their pitching staff is second to none, as you just stated, with all the stat categories that they're leading. It's pretty clear. And obviously they did lose a big piece in Jeffrey Springs out for the rest of the season with Tommy John surgery. But if there's any team in baseball that I trust to be able to withstand losing what looked to be a solid number 2 guy in this rotation this year, it would be the Tampa Bay Rays. And they'll somehow figure out a way to produce these great pitchers still who will come out, start games for them, open games for them. The Rays will find a way to be the Rays, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I agree. And they do have Taj Bradley, who kind of came up and
electric.
Kind of not took over for Jeffrey Springs, but it's good that he came up and he's pitching well when Jeffrey Springs went down, because they're the kings of bullpen games. So that 5th start that they're losing with Jeffrey Springs being out, they can get right back in a bullpen game, so it's not too worrisome. Taj Bradley in 2 games, 10 innings pitched, he's got a 2.61 ERA so far. So Taj Bradley is a young stud, to say the very least, young stud, because the guy like you said is electric. He can kind of do it all. Zach Eflin's been pretty good for them. Shane McClanahan has been an absolute dog so far through 5 starts. He's got a 1.86 ERA. Drew Rasmussen through 4 starts, 2.01 ERA. They're just crazy. And their bullpen is also very crazy. Their bullpen just doesn't give up that many runs. It's crazy to think that this is how good they are. And on their injured list, they also have Tyler Glass now. Now they have Jeffrey Springs and Shane Baz. And Tyler Glass now is going to be back soon. So that rotation is going to be nasty. Their lineup is clicking. They're hitting off every pitcher they see. And then their bullpen is pretty much lights out, as it has been the last however many years. So the Rays are looking scary. A lot scarier than we had them going into the season. And I think many people didn't have them to be this good.
Yeah, one thing that at least I personally discounted was their bullpen. And their bullpen has more than proved me wrong so far this season. It shocks me to think that this bullpen could even be better based on what we've seen so far. You know, there could be more opportunities for guys like Kevin Kelly, who is one of the relief pitchers, or Jason Adam, to really come in and be more effective than they already are. Which is weird to say, but it just feels like the Rays will always figure out a way to get the most out of their pitchers. And I think that right now, they're not even showing it, and they're still on this warpath throughout all of baseball.
Yeah, you mentioned Jason Adams. Jason Adams was a big guy for them last year. He had a 1.56 ERA in 67 games. So, like you said, having guys like maybe the younger guys who aren't too used to, being on that major league roster, but then you also have the veterans who are going to go out there and be dogs. And it's good to kind of have that mix. The youngest guy in their bullpen is 25, so they have they have a very mature bullpen, and it's all kind of just working out for them, which love to see it for the Rays, and you can really tell in their way of play. Not to mention their lineup too is like I said, clicking on all cylinders. Their lineup ranks first. This is absolutely wild. Their lineup ranks first in baseball in average, on-base percentage, OPS, runs, and home runs. They are 11th in steals. It is what it is. They're starting pitching, first in ERA, second in WHIP, first in strikeouts per 9, first in hits per 9, first in home runs per 9. No wonder they're 19-3. They're killing everyone they face. Good for the Rays. Love it. What you got, Lewis? You're very silent over there. What's going on?
We had them in our preseason power rankings as the 17th best lineup in baseball. Tied for the 17th best lineup in baseball. Looking back on it, we underrated them. I think there's no other way to say that other than we underrated them because this lineup has figured out a way to produce at such an amazing rate. And my apologies for being silent. I was just making sure that my number that I had was right. The 17th best lineup in baseball is what we had them at going into the season. It almost makes me think that the Rays clubhouse was actually playing our video about the Rays when they decided to once again come out of this season firing.
I'm sure.
We gave them some motivation, so shout out to all the Tampa Bay Rays players. Good job so far.
That absolutely did not happen.
You don't know that.
I can almost guarantee it.
You can't, but you can't.
I'll actually guarantee it right now. That did not happen.
What's next on the list?
No, I'm not done. What are you?
Okay, then come on.
What are you doing, man? I'm gonna come over there.
No, you're not.
I will. Well, I'm losing my train. Yes. I don't think we necessarily underrated them. I think it was kind of fair to say that they weren't going to be, like that top 10 team. Because you do look at their lineup and you see, Harold Ramirez. Did you have him coming out of the gate batting, what's he batting right now? 382? No one did. With the 691 slugging, no one had that. Christian Bethancourt, did you have him coming out of the box batting 268? No one did. It's like, it was kind of unpredictable. They're all clicking at the same time. I think it's fair where we put them preseason. That makes sense. In my head, that it makes sense why we put them there. So I'm gonna back ourselves. I'm gonna back us. Me personally, I'm just gonna back our statements of preseason rankings because I think it was fair at the time.
All right. The one thing that I do want to mention is that if you're saying that this team is clicking all at the same time, do you think that there's someone who will eventually fall out of this groove or fall off this cloud nine? And if so, who do you think that player or players would be?
Well, I don't know who it would be. That's kind of like I'm not gonna say who I think is gonna be doing bad. It's kind of like one of those.
Well, who
things.
do you think is overperforming the most then?
Well,
my answer is pretty clear.
Well, overperforming the most, you got to think Bethancourt.
Mm-hmm. That's who I would say.
Or Harold Ramirez. I mean, Harold Ramirez is batting 382. That's ridiculous.
I would definitely say Bethancourt.
I guess that's fair. I think even if a couple guys fall off a little bit, maybe one, maybe two, this team should still be fine. But I think in the next couple weeks where they actually start playing better teams, again, I'd still say the Blue Jays are the most legit team they've played so far. And dare I say the only legit team they've played so far. So I'm interested to see, as they play better and better teams, how they continue to fare and how their lineup continues to play. Because, yes, I think anyone could score 8 or 10 runs off, like, the Cincinnati Reds. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Well, their next big test is actually coming up earlier, starting today. Of the time of this recording, they play the Astros for a 3-game set, which...
I'm excited for that.
How do we feel about that?
I'm excited for that because this is what I'm kind of looking for the Rays. I want to see if they can beat the Astros because the Astros are seeming to maybe find their groove again. The Astros just swept the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta, which is even a tougher task than sweeping them at home. Yordan Alvarez had two-run home runs in the series. One was a go-ahead home run in the 9th inning. Mauricio Dubon was continuing to just get on base, get hits, really just be that next man up when Altuve went down. He's doing a really, really great job at doing that. Their pitching was phenomenal. I know Javier in Game 3 went 6 innings, 1 earned, 10 Ks. It seems like they might actually be fully clicking. So then going back to the Rays, I feel like that's why it will be a good series. But I do want to talk about the Astros a little bit. How are we feeling about the Astros? Do we think they're finally in their groove?
I think that it's a little bit too early to say if they're completely in their groove or not. Obviously, they've won their last two series, winning 2 out of 3 against the Rangers, winning 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays, and then sweeping the Atlanta Braves, which very good way to turn your rocky road start of a season around. However, now you're going to go play the Rays, which I think is another test for both teams, I think that's a completely fair statement to say.
Yeah.
Then we did a World Series rematch going into the weekend, which, with how Philly's been playing and hopefully how they can heat up quickly, I think maybe you wait another week or two to really determine whether or not Houston has found their groove. But as of right now, they're on a good path towards that groove that they need to hit.
Yeah, they've won 4 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and like we both just said, or like I just said rather, it just seems like they're actually like clicking now. Their pitching's not giving up a lot of runs, and then their offense is scoring the necessary amount of runs to win these games.
For sure.
It's vitally important, and I would say I agree with you. These next couple series are really important. The Phillies have started off really bad, but they're also 7-3 in their last 10, so they've picked it up a lot in the last week. And the Rays obviously are the best team in baseball record-wise right now, 19-3. As much of a test as it is for the Rays, it is for the Astros. I completely agree with you on that one. That's why I think this might be the series that I watch the most this upcoming week.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm definitely going to have this series on one as soon as I get home every night, because there's going to be no better baseball that we can find for the foreseeable future, in my opinion. These are the two powerhouse teams, the two teams that have shown, whether it be last season with the Astros, showed how good they have been consistently, or with the Rays, who somehow figured out a way to be 18 or 19-3 right now and have looked absolutely dominant in doing it. This is the immovable object versus the unstoppable force. And you can decide at home which is which, but it's going to be a bloodbath, and I'm just excited to see some great baseball.
That's fair.
Could we do you think that this is a playoff preview very early in the season?
Oh, Astros Rays, of course.
Astros Rays, all right.
That's a very fair assessment to say that could be a playoff preview.
Definitely could be.
Right now, the Astros are 12-10 heading into Monday, and they are 2.5 games back of the first place Texas Rangers. I think coming into this season, a lot of people had, Angels, Mariners, who we'll talk about the Mariners in a little bit, and what they did this weekend, but the Rangers are 14-7. The Rangers are 14-7, first in the AL West through, we're approaching a month of the season right now, which is a little insane to me. But that's besides the point. The Rangers are doing really good. That's what I have to say about that.
No better way to say it.
And specifically, one guy on the Rangers had a really, really good week. Adolis Garcia, in Game 3 of this series, Game 2 of this series, Adolis Garcia on Saturday night went 5 for 5 with 3 home runs, 2 doubles, and 8 runs batted in. Adolis Garcia had an absolute night. I believe he was the 14th player in American League National League history to have 5 extra base hits in a game, which is insane.
Yeah.
And he's got, I think 7 home runs on the season now. They destroyed the Athletics on Saturday. They won like 16-3, something like that. The Rangers actually lost the opener to this series, which when that happened, I can't lie, I was a little taken back. I was like, that shouldn't have happened, because the A's are horrible. The A's are actually...
It's baseball. That's my only statement.
It is baseball, but the A's, I'll come out and say it now, the Oakland Athletics have a chance to become the worst team in baseball history when it's all said and done at the end of the season. Right now, they're 4-18, so a 182 win percentage, .182. They are 10.5 games back already. We're only a month in. But here's the dagger. Their negative 103 run differential is the most through a team's first 22 games ever. I believe the stat was that I saw is that they're on pace. If they keep this up, they're on pace to have a negative, like almost a negative 700 run differential at the end of the season. This is historically bad.
Impressive.
If you're going out there playing the Athletics, which every team plays the Athletics this season at least once, when you play the Athletics, even if you're a National League East team who only plays them once, like what the Mets did in a 4-game series against the Athletics, you better go out there expecting a sweep.
Yes.
You need to be expecting a sweep against the Oakland Athletics. Because if you don't sweep, and it's the one time you play them in the season, you've lost your opportunity for free wins, which kind of sucks. Because
and you can't be throwing away opportunities like that because in this season of baseball, it feels like it's not going to come around too often.
They are just so bad.
They are extremely bad.
I'm gonna find their. I'm gonna read off some of their ERAs for their pitchers.
Please do.
Because first of all, Shintaro Fujinami, I was very high on him for the beginning of the season.
As was
I was very excited to see him pitch.
Yeah.
And my calculations were a little off because he's currently sporting a measly 14.40 ERA on the season through 4 starts. Kyle Muller has got a 7.23 ERA. Ken Waldachuk has a 7.65 ERA. Mason Miller, who he's only had 1 start, so I'm not going to even count it, actually. He has 4.15 ERA, but 1 start. JP Sears has a 4.98 ERA. Going to their bullpen, Jerry's Familia, 5.40 ERA. Sam Mull, 4.91 ERA. It's just, it goes on and on. This pitching staff is absolutely horrendous. They are bottom of the league. Oh my, this is wild. I'm just looking at this right now. So, starting pitchers, 30th in ERA in the league, 30th in WHIP, 30th in walks per 9, 30th in hits per 9, 30th in home runs per 9. Their relief pitchers, 30th in ERA, 30th in WHIP, 30th in walks per 9, 30th in strikeouts per 9, 26th in hits per 9, 27th in home runs per 9. It's impressive.
They're historically bad.
It's almost hard to do this. No, I take that back. They're pitching to major league hitters.
Yeah.
And they're in the AL West. Yeah. It's sad. It's historically sad.
It's embarrassing, especially with the recent news, which we covered on our last episode, of them moving to Las Vegas in the 2027 season. It's
not official.
It's
looking like it, but not technically not official. Yeah, but yeah, go on.
But it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing because usually when a team leaves, let's just take the Raiders, for example, in football, or we can even take the Warriors in basketball. They're usually well run, and there's a plan that, yes, they might suck or they might be a dynasty, which is the Raiders not being too good and the Warriors being a dynasty when they move. But the plan is to turn it around and set it up before they move their home arena, which the Raiders did really well, and they had a couple of good years of success, and the Warriors are in the playoffs. They won an NBA championship last year.
The Warriors didn't move that far.
They did, but they moved out of Oakland.
Oh, yeah.
It's just embarrassing that these other teams in any other sport have come in with a plan when they say they're going to move, or even establish themselves in the NHL. Teams came in with a plan. And it just shows how unprepared the Athletics are for tomorrow, let alone what their future holds. They have, I believe, only 1 player in the top 100, if that, for prospects this season. And all of their prospects are performing just as well as their major league talent. And that's nothing against them, and I really hope that they come up and do well. And there's something that clicks within the A's organization to right the ship, turn it around, and maybe at least go out with a bang when you're talking about the Oakland Athletics, because it's not fair. It's just simply not fair to the fans. It's not fair to baseball, because this, like you just read off all the stats, it's embarrassing to not only the Athletics, to not only the AL West, to not only to the team who has to play them. It's embarrassing to the league as a whole that there is an ownership group or an owner itself,
owner
that can go out into baseball this season and say, I actively want to make as much money as possible without spending a dime.
It's ridiculous.
It's embarrassing.
It's ridiculous. So I don't think, you said hopefully they wake up one day. Not going to happen. The only way the Athletics, I think, get competitive again is with a new owner. And I think that's just the end of that's how it's going to have to be.
You would think with all these other sports teams being sold for absorbent amounts of money, that there's not one lunatic willing to spend $1 billion, $2 billion to buy this A's organization and turn it around. You know who I would love to see be an owner in MLB?
Oh, God, who?
The guy who owns the Clippers.
Okay.
I forget his name.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
He seems like a lot of fun. He is super passionate, and he just built a new stadium for the Clippers that should be in a few years. But he seems super passionate, and he's shown time and time again that he's willing to spend money in order for his team to win. And I'm not saying that he should be the one to do it, but I want a guy like that, where the team might suck when he buys it, but his goal is to bring a championship to that organization that he paid for. Because what's the point in investing in this thing if the best thing in the world that these athletes talk about is winning a championship? You can contribute more than anything to that because you're the guy who writes the check at the end of the day. And it's embarrassing that none of these guys in the athletics organization or the owner himself realizes that.
You know who I would love to see on an MLB team?
Who?
The Rock.
Dwayne. I could see Dwayne owning one.
Yeah, I would love The Rock.
Yeah. What would they call him? The Oakland People's Champs?
The Athletics.
I don't know.
Is The Rock not athletic?
He is athletic, but they would have to change the logo. Give me the elephant back, but with Dwayne riding it.
I would take a Dwayne riding. I'd buy a jersey.
I would too.
But not
I would get it tattooed.
Not like the little patch logo. I want it full jersey.
Yeah,
I want a full jersey. Like instead of the writing athletics across, just that logo.
Dwayne.
I'd buy it.
I would as well.
Honestly, Dwayne would probably be a better owner than the current athletics owner. I don't even know his name. If I knew his name, I wouldn't want to say it.
Amen.
That name does not get spoken under this roof. Just like another name that I won't say. What? Whoa. You can't say. Anyway, so let's continue on here before I get too far reminiscing about my hatred for Andrew Heaney.
Anyways.
Where we want to pivot to next?
Definitely want to talk about, if we're just going to stick on the topic of teams that have done well and teams that have maybe underperformed. A team that I think has underperformed the most out of any other team in baseball, the San Francisco Cardinals. Just somehow are still, I believe they're 10-13 after today. Mm-hmm. Exactly not where I had them. You know, they're below the Pirates, the Cubs, and the Brewers in the standings of just the NL Central. And it's interesting to me because there's just obviously something that's not there. And I am going to keep mentioning it and keep talking about it because this team is so much better than what they've shown. And for some reason, they're not figuring it out. They're not putting it together. Could it be that they're missing just like a spark and energy? Like, do they need Albert Pujols to come back? Do they need a cardboard cutout of Yadier Molina behind the plate? I don't know what it is, but they're obviously missing something. And it's embarrassing because this team has so much talent and so much skill that they're just not playing to every day.
Here's the issue I'm having. Their team's playing good.
Yeah, but they keep losing games.
It's their pitch. I'll tell you exactly what it is right now. It is their starting pitching. That is exactly what it is. Yes, their bullpen hasn't been great either, but their bullpen has been good. Their bullpen has been good.
Their bullpen has been serviceable.
There are a couple
serviceable.
No, it's been more than serviceable. Their bullpen's been really, really good. There's just been a couple guys who are like outliers. Like Jordan Hicks had a couple bad outings. He hasn't been like as dominant as past years. It's their starting pitching, 1,000%. I mean, you're missing Adam Wainwright. Miles Michaelis has a 7.46 ERA right now. Jordan Montgomery has a 4.84 ERA. Jake Woodford has a 6.05 ERA. Steven Matz has a 6.55 ERA. The only guy in your rotation who's been good is Jack Flaherty.
And he can't control the ball to save his life.
I mean, he only had 2 walks today, so yes, that is a step up. I believe he also...
Just funny enough, since we just got off the A's topic, shout out to this guy, Genie, on Instagram, who also just commented, Oakland A's need a better owner.
Of course.
We were just talking about it. He obviously heard us talking. He's on our walls. Shout out, Genie.
But yeah, Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty pitched today, and he pitched 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs rather. But I believe they did win that game. So
the guy who I feel the worst for in this rotation is Miles Mikolas, because he just signed an extension, and he sort of last year came out as this guy that the Cardinals needed when it came to starting pitching. And this season he's yet to find his groove, which is upsetting. He's gone through 5 starts now, and the Cardinals have only been able to win 2 of those. And even in those 2 wins, he still has given up 6 runs or 3 runs in the next one. It's just something that I think...
3 runs not that bad.
Yeah, but they don't.
No, I agree. He's been bad.
It's just there's something obviously not clicking, and if that is within their pitching staff, whether it is in that or it's in their rotation, not rotation. What's that thing called with the bats? The lineup. If it's within their lineup, then I just don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me, because on paper this team should be really good based on what we've seen in the past, and no one's putting it together yet, which is upsetting. But to each their own. Hopefully the Cardinals can right the ship, but I would prefer for them to finish second, in all honesty, as of right now, because I want to see the Pittsburgh Pirates sit atop the division.
I do. We'll talk about the Pirates in a second. A couple guys in this lineup. I mean, the lineup, like I said, is not the problem. 4th in the league in batting average, 8th in OPS, 8th in OPS. They're not really hitting for that much power. Like, not as much as you would expect. The most homers in this lineup is 5 from Nolan Gorman. But, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, both have 2 home runs.
Slow starters.
Wilson Contreras has 2 homers, and they were both in the same game. Not a lot of slugging going on from the Cardinals is really what it boils down to for me.
It also looks like a lot of strikeouts too.
Probably a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah, you're talking, Wilson Contreras.
But at the end of the day, if you're striking out a lot, they're still 4th best in the league in batting average. So that. I mean, you should be winning games. What
are they ranked in on-base percentage?
3rd.
3rd in on-base percentage.
They're getting on base.
4th in batting average.
8th in OPS.
8th in OPS, and they're not. Yeah, so
I just don't think they're slugging enough. It must be something with that.
Well, what's their slugging? Where are they ranked slugging in baseball?
I don't have the slugging number. I just have OPS. I want to check though how many runs they've given up. In how do I explain this? In relation to how many runs they've scored. I don't know.
They've given up 103 runs.
Yeah, and then they've scored 97 runs.
Yeah.
So their pitching's been very, very bad. Their Pythagorean win-loss ratio is 10 and 11, which are they worse than that right now?
Yes.
They're 9 and 13 right now, which is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Oh, that didn't even count today's game. Either, which they did win, but we'll see.
Still below Cardinals, what they should be doing.
Cardinals, be better, man.
Yeah, be better.
I want to see you guys be good.
I do too.
It must be Packy Naughton on the 15-day IL. That must be what's doing it. Strained forearm.
Sure. I mean, they just dropped the series to Seattle where Teoscar Hernandez beat them in 2 games, basically.
Yeah, you want to talk about that series, don't you?
Yeah, it was a good series. I liked watching it. Jared Kelenic did Jared Kelenic things.
All right. Well, what did everyone else do?
Jared Kelenic. That's all that I have on that series. Just that Jared Kelenic hit another homer.
You were hyping up the series.
Well, it was a great series.
What'd Teoscar do?
Let's not get it wrong.
I didn't really watch the series.
Teoscar Hernandez had 2 two-run home runs in 2 days. Looked really good. He actually you ever watch a baseball game, and I want everyone who's listening to this to also think about this. You ever watch a baseball game And when someone's just like really in the zone, you know, like it feels like they can do anything they want to the baseball when they're standing in the box. Sort of 2022 Aaron Judge-esque.
Yeah.
Or Luis Arias or Stephen Barry Bonds Kwan type of thing. That's what it felt like when Teoscar was in the box this series. He didn't he didn't hit 400 and go absolutely nuclear, but when he got the one pitch that he was sitting on, like he so clearly just could not miss it if he tried, type of thing. And that's a good sign from a guy like Teoscar Hernandez, who the Seattle Mariners gave up a good amount of value to trade for him to be the power bat that now he has turned into, and it's looking like that's so far a good trade-off for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just happy to say. I mean, Teoscar batted nearly 400 this season. I mean, this series, and he looked good while doing it. And I just think that that's a very good sign if we're talking about guys who are or teams that need to right the ship and kind of get back on track. This is one of the guys that needs to right the ship and get back on track and get back to what we saw out of him last year with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, the Mariners are 10-12 right now. They did struggle a little bit early in the season, but taking 2 or 3 from a struggling. Okay, maybe this isn't updated. No, last updated April. Okay, yeah, this isn't fully updated. So either way, you know, they're 10-13. So
10-12. Sorry, 10-12.
Oh,
you're
so
right.
what
You're
are you
right.
saying, man?
Sorry. I misread it. I misread it.
They're 10-12. They struggled early, but they did capitalize on the Cardinals, who were also struggling. They just were struggling less, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Glad for them. I feel like I don't exactly remember what I thought of that Teoscar trade when it first happened. But I believe I want to say that I did say, like, that's a good trade for them. Yeah. They need outfielders. He's a power bat. He's going to get on base.
And they gave up a relief pitcher who they didn't need.
Exactly. He's an all-star, and they gave up guys who they could do without. So good for them. Love the Mariners. Jared Kelenic is your guy.
Jared Kelenic.
I will not be following Jared Kelenic this season.
Jared Kelenic, baby.
We were going to do a whole O'Neill Cruz watch for the entire season, and then he got injured 3 weeks into the season. I mean, heartbreaking.
Yeah, just to give a little bit more on Jared Kelenic, he's batting .319 on the season now.
Didn't ask.
He's looking great so far. He's at 20 strikeouts. Obviously, it's one of the best power hitters in the league right now. He's going to strike out a lot.
How many homers?
6. With 13 RBIs and 3 stolen bases. Don't sleep on that. His season high right now is 6. I'm projecting that he gets 24.
I think you're overhyping him a lot right now.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you the truth.
You're acting like he's doing things like
who? Name a 23-year-old
Brandon Marsh.
Better than him.
You act like he's doing things like Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh.
Former future World Series MVP Brandon Marsh.
Brandon Marsh leads baseball in OPS.
Does he actually?
Yes.
That's embarrassing.
With a 1.213. It's not embarrassing. Brandon Marsh has been
1.213?
1.213 OPS leads baseball.
Jesus. Okay, good for you. Top out for Brandon Marsh.
Yeah, I'm gonna read some stats because, right? It's under the radar.
That is mind-boggling.
The Phillies have been struggling. He's got 4 homers. Get ready for this: 4 triples, 6 doubles. He's batting .364. He's slugging .758.
Does he lead the league in WAR?
Does he lead the league in WAR? I don't have WAR right now. It's too early for WAR for me. Come on, man.
Well, it's always fun.
WAR?
It's always fun to look at WAR.
The Phillies aren't winning.
Well,
how's he warring? The Phillies did just take 3 of 4 from the Rockies, which you would hope if you're a Phillies fan that would have went that way, and it did. So yeah. Good for the Phillies. I'm hoping they can also get back on their feet, find their stride. Yes. I'm hoping that
as for their weekend series, they took 3 out of 4 from the Rockies, where I think the most exciting part about the series, besides Trey Turner's home run that came today on Sunday, I believe, was the JT Realmuto little fiasco, the the Broadway show that he put on within the box. Would you like to break it down a little bit?
Yeah, so JT Realmuto, it was just a pitch game, one of the games in the series. Realmuto, ball gets thrown inside, about letter high, pulls his arms back, ball goes past, and he acts, I don't want to say pretend, I'm saying pretends lightly because you never know, it could have actually hit him, but he just flips the bat, he starts running to first, and the ump's like, oh, well, I guess it hit him then. And he just let it happen. And Bud Black, who is the manager of the Rockies, came out and he was like, that didn't hit him. Can you overturn it? Can you do an umpire review? The Rockies, at this point in the game, didn't have any more reviews left because they used their review and they got it wrong, their challenge, rather. So they couldn't challenge the fact that he got hit or not. And the umpires just refused to. The umpires can do it themselves, but the umpires just refused. I think that's absolutely horrible. We've seen some really bad umpiring so far in this season, just with the sticky substance stuff, and now like just challenges and such. We saw a thing with the Yankees and the Guardians series where they let Terry Francona challenge like 2 minutes after. Like a minute after the play ended rather than 15 seconds, and then this. Do the umpires just not want to be proven wrong? In this situation, at least? Like, why would you not at least say, this manager is coming out here and yelling at us so much that we threw him out of the game. Maybe we should just take a look at it, just in case.
I got 2 words for you that will sum up everything as to why the umpires are this stubborn to start a season. The ump show.
That was 3 words.
The ump show.
That was 3. It's always been the ump show.
It's just the ump show, and I just want to say that I think the umpires feel threatened a little bit by the robotic umpire system that it has been coming up through the minor leagues and has looked really well. And I think part of their retaliation, I'm not saying that it's implemented now, but could be, is the human factor. And it's going to be very hard to stray away from that. Like we see it in the minor leagues, umpires are no longer argued with. You know, the play is the play. Everything is reviewable. Batters and pitchers have the opportunity to even challenge balls and strikes. It's almost removing like the entertainment and fun out of their job because they know that they control the game. I think it's embarrassing. Not saying that that's why this is happening so early in the season, but it's definitely something that it would not surprise me if this offseason or right before the All-Star break, we did an Athletic article saying the reason why the umpires are so bad is because they want to add the human factor back to baseball with the robot umpires.
No, I don't think that's... that wouldn't make any sense. But would it
surprise you? Think
yes,
about
that would.
MLB umpires.
We're gonna add the human element by making bullshit calls and making everyone mad at us. Making
entertainment
and making the league mad at us to making the league see that we're not umping good. No, doesn't make sense to me.
They're in a union. What are we gonna do? Fire them? That's impossible.
But that's not what I'm saying. I don't think that's why. I don't think they're like, oh, let's just fucking robo umps now. Let's just be as fucking sketchy as we possibly can with these calls. Let's piss some people off. I don't think that's it at all. I think it's just bad. There's been bad umping for the last since baseball started.
Well,
this isn't just this year. Yeah, they're not doing this. It's just something with It's the ump show. I don't think it. And another thing with threatened by the robo umps. Don't think they're threatened. I think most of them just don't like it in general because obviously it's not perfect yet. I don't think they're necessarily threatened because you still have your job. You're still sitting there calling balls and strikes. I understand that it's not you seeing the balls and strikes. I'm pretty sure there's an overriding system. I could be wrong. But I don't know. I just think it's the ump show. I think it's literally as simple as that. I don't think it goes any deeper than that.
Well, that's what I said to start it off. The ump show.
The ump show. I agree, but I don't.
How many of them do you think were bullied as children that they need the attention? I'm calling out.
We're getting offensive. Jeez.
MLB umpires. Fuck you. Be better at your job.
I don't stand by that deep of a statement. I will say,
be better at your job.
Do better.
Do better.
Do better. I'm not gonna say fuck you or anything, but But the ump show is...
I'm going to be staring at umpire scorecards from now on.
Are you? Just refresh.
Watch.
Okay. All right. Well, he's... All right. Anyway, moving on. The Mets and the Giants split a series.
Yeah.
I just kind of looked at that. Not much to it.
Sunday Night Baseball.
The Mets on their
West Coast.
I believe on their West Coast trip, the Mets went 7-3, which
Very good.
is more than you can ask for. Yes, you could have taken today's game in San Francisco. It was a close game. The Giants took the lead in the 8th inning, which would have made you 8-2 on that road trip. That would have been feeling, honestly, 8-2 for me is a lot better than 7-3. I know it's only one more win, but for me that feels a lot better. But still, 7-3 is a lot you can ask for. The only downside of this road trip for the Mets was the fact that they're coming back home with a 2-game losing streak. But they're playing the Nationals, who are 7-14 right now. So it's looking up for the Mets. The Mets had a really good West Coast trip, and good for them.
Yeah, and if anyone who knows a Mets fan or has been on Twitter or any social media and seen anything about the Mets, everybody I think knows at this point in baseball, the Mets West Coast road trip is their make or break for the season. Even last year.
We had this spiel last time.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, but just even last year, we talked about it last episode. It just goes to show how good a team genuinely is when they go across the country and have to play these 4 or 5 series in a row against all these teams. First time in a long time that the Mets are coming out of it feeling confident as ever. So, good job on the Mets. Obviously, closing it out with a 2-game losing streak is not ideal. But, like Alex said, they're playing the Nationals this week, so definitely will be more than enough time to right the ship.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, good for the Mets. The Mets, one of the teams the Mets did beat was the Dodgers. The Dodgers actually went into Chicago, and they took 3 of 4 from the Cubs this weekend. James Outman, rookie, had two home run games in Chicago. So the Dodgers were kind of firing on all cylinders with their bats for 3 of the 4 games. I cannot speak for the 4th game. Not the 4th game of the series. It was the Friday game in this series. Their bats went very, very, how do I stress this even more, very cold. Drew Smyly was perfect through 7 innings against the Dodgers on Friday. And going into the 8th inning, like I just said, he was perfect. And to lead off the 8th inning, actually preface by saying he was looking very, very good as well. Up to that point, he had, I believe, a handful of strikeouts. He had 10 strikeouts up to that point. And like I said, 7 innings, perfect, no hits, no walks, no runs, nothing. And then to lead off the 8th inning, David Peralta hit not a bunt, it was like a swinging bunt, not on purpose, but little dribbler right to the left side of the mound. Drew Smyly goes out to get it, field it, throw it to first. It would have been a close play regardless, but then Yan Gomes, the catcher, was also going for the ball and just tripped right over him. Perfect game over. It counted as a hit. Perfect game over. No hitter over. Crazy.
I must say, I am all for being spontaneous and very impromptu with my actions. I don't think I've ever seen a more spontaneous piggyback ride than on the left side of the infield grass in Wrigley Field than that day.
Yan Gomes, big fan of the piggyback ride. I actually really like that's funny.
Yep,
Yan Gomes, big
there
fan
has
of the
never
piggyback.
been a more spontaneous, more impactful, spontaneous piggyback ride than the Yan Gomes piggyback ride.
That's hilarious. I actually kind of love that.
Thank you.
The piggyback. I'm writing it down because I like it so much.
He's gonna say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
Say what?
Yeah. Yeah, you think I'm that gullible. But yeah, I feel like this season already we've seen, I mean, I'm not just saying this because we saw another one on Sunday, but we've seen a lot of close, it's been a lot more evident, this guy has a no-hitter through 7, this guy's perfect through 6, this guy's perfect through 5, 7. I feel like it's been a lot more evident through the first start of the season. I don't know if you also feel that way. Maybe it's just recency bias.
I can agree with you, but hindsight is 2020. Would it surprise me if we went back and looked and saw that there were actually more opportunities for perfect games and no hitters in the last 5 seasons to start this season than right now? No. But I do think it's a little bit of recency bias, as well as the performances that the pitchers are putting on. Like, they feel very dominant. Like, Drew Smyly genuinely felt like he was throwing a bottle cap to these hitters, to the Dodgers lineup. It was crazy how no one was touching it.
I think if Drew Smyly didn't give up that hit, like that one hit.
If Yan Gomes did not want a piggyback ride, yes.
Well, more or less, because I think David Peralta might have still been safe, which would have been an infield hit. Mm-hmm. But had that play not happen, I think he might have done it, because he was just so dominant the entire day. Much like another guy was on Sunday, which we'll talk about later.
Well, let's just talk about it now.
No, we'll talk about him later.
Okay.
But yeah, he looked really dominant. I think he might have done it had that not happened.
Yeah. So this leads me into the one question that I did want to ask about the Cubs. I wrote it down because I wanted to get your opinion on it, and I wanted to air out my opinion on it as well. With how this lineup is constructed for the Chicago Cubs and how this pitching staff is, do you think that there's a world where they can get back to a genuine competing state? Obviously, this lineup is good so far. Will they hold it for the whole season? Will Cody Bellinger continue to be the Cody Bellinger that we're seeing now? Will Eric Hosmer and Dansby Swanson continue to bat the way that they're hitting? Trey Mancini, Nico Horner, Ian Happ, and the pitching staff, Drew Smyly nearly threw a perfect game. Will all of these things continue to click for the Cubs? Will everything fall into place for them? How do you see the rest of their season going based on what we've seen so far?
I said it in the preseason. I said it in our will be. I said it. I've been saying it since they signed Belly, Trey Mancini, Eric Hosmer. This team is circumstantial. This team relies a lot on them taking chances on players and it working out. And thus far, they're 12-7 right now. It has worked out, which is why this is looking so good for the Cubs and why the morale is so high in Chicago. I mean, Cody Bellinger is batting .300 again with a .900 OPS. He's turning back into MVP Bellinger. He's got 5 homers, 15 RBIs, only 13 strikeouts through 21 games. Cody Bellinger is being that guy again. Not only that, but then you have the other guys. I said it was the big 3. You have Eric Hosmer, who's batting .250. Trey Mancini, who's batting .232, but he's been contributing to the lineup as well. Mm-hmm. And then you got guys like Seiya Suzuki in his second season. He just came back this last week rather. Seiya Suzuki came back, and he's going to be a contributor to this lineup. Nico Horner is having an absolute incredible start to the season, batting .367, 9 steals. And that's without even talking about Dansby Swanson, who was the biggest free agent they got this offseason. He's batting .315 as well. It's just everything's going right for the Cubs, and before the season started, I said that's what was going to have to happen if they wanted to be good this year. Everything would have to go good at the same time.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being they never win a game for the rest of the season, 10 being they win the World Series, okay, where do you think the Cubs end, number scale wise?
End? Or
end?
What do I think is most like what would I be safest with saying? I'll say what I'm safest with saying. I'm not going to be outrageous. I'm going to say 5. I genuinely.
Does that mean playoffs? You think?
I'm not gonna guarantee. I'm not gonna say I'm guaranteeing anything. Like, I'm not gonna be that confident in it. But there is definitely a world where they easily get into a wild card spot in the NL. Dare I say, compete for the NL Central, which right now looking like there are a couple better teams who we'll talk about in a second. But I think it's not outrageous to say that they'll comfortably be in a wild card spot with how they're playing right now. But overall, I'd say 5 because I still think they're heavily relying on these guys to continue to play amazing through the entire season. So we'll see what happens with the Cubs. I'm very interested. They are trailing the Pirates, though. So
Yeah, the Pirates have been otherworldly, and I think there's no other way to put that. The Cubs have also been great, and it's exciting to see just some different things going on, you know, in baseball as compared to last year. Things that maybe we didn't expect, things that we didn't know were coming. It's fun. Go baseball. Where do you want to jump to next?
I don't know. You tell me.
How do you feel about talking about our players of the week?
Players of the week. So we're ending after this? We got anything else? Players of the week. Save that for last. Do we have anything else?
Not that I really know.
Fernando Tatis back. Struggling a little bit, but he does have a homer. This is just a couple things I wanted to mention. Masataka Yoshida had 2 home runs in the same inning earlier today.
One a grand slam.
One was a grand slam.
That was fun.
The Red Sox won 12-5. The Red Sox took 2 of 3 from the Brewers, which the Brewers have been good to start the season as well. What else we got? I'm trying to just think of the series we didn't really talk about, just to keep everyone updated. Angels took 2 of 3 from the Royals earlier today, or rather on Sunday in the last game of the series. They went back.
Trout is looking crazy.
They went back to back to back. Taylor Ward, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. Like you said, Mike Trout is looking like Mike Trout.
Yeah.
It's not even a surprise at this point.
Thank God.
Marlins took 2 of 3 from the Guardians. They actually swept a doubleheader. Always ride with the boys down south.
Always.
And the Orioles swept the Tigers, which expected.
Yeah.
Although one of the games was very interesting because it looked like they were going to lose, but they didn't. So, yeah. Padres took 3 or 4 from the Diamondbacks. We didn't even talk about that.
No.
We'll talk about that. I feel like after these week series, we'll be able to see more because the NL West, I'll mention it briefly. The Diamondbacks and Dodgers are 12-11, and the Padres are 12-12. So after this week, I'm sure that'll look a little bit different. So I'm excited to see. They're all playing separate teams, none in division. So we'll see what happens with that. And yeah, I'm ready to do my players of the week. Do you want to?
I'm ready as well.
So this week you have NL.
I do.
I have AL. Do you want to start with your NL hitter of the week?
I would love to. My NL hitter of the week, my player of the week in the NL for the batters, for the position players, James Outman of the Los Angeles Dodgers. We talked about it a little bit already. Over the last week, he has a .370 batting average, 4 homers with two home run games each, 10 hits, 9 RBIs, and a 1.245 OPS within that week. James Outman, player of the week, NL hitter.
Congratulations, James Outman. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. You know, those two home run games. Those two home run games. One of them being a grand slam that won them the game. It was the go ahead grand slam. Just well deserved. Well deserves. Were there any other hitters in the NL that had really good weeks? I know Brandon Nimmo had a really good week.
Yeah, Nimrod looked pretty good.
Would you just call him
Nimrod? I've been saying that for a while now.
Never heard it.
Brandon Nimrod has looked pretty well. Nico Horner could have definitely been up here. He was playing amazing. Of course, the obvious guys like the batting title winner last year in the American League, Luis Arias, boy down south, has looked good. Plenty of honorable mentions, but it's hard to deny how good James Outman has been, and I want to give him the necessary respect that he obviously deserves.
All right, fair. Should I do my hitter, my AL hitter of the week?
Sure.
And then we'll do pitchers. So my AL hitter of the week is Adolis Garcia. Obviously, heavily skewed by that Saturday night game where he was 5 for 5 with 3 home runs and 2 doubles. But when you do something like that and become just the 14th player in history to have 5 extra base hits in a game, you deserve to win player of the week. And not only that, but over the course of the entire week, he went 8 for 20 with 14 RBIs, 4 homers, 2 doubles, and 2 walks. So Adolis Garcia is my American League hitter of the week.
Oh boy, Adolis did it in the City Connect uniforms for the Rangers, which I will say look gorgeous. I absolutely love the outfit.
Now that I've seen them on the field, I like them a little bit more. They're not my favorite, but I do respect them a little bit more than I did.
They might be top 5 for me.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. Do you want to give us your NL pitcher of the week?
I want you to snake around. Give us your AL pitcher.
I will snake around. This was why I'm very excited. We didn't talk about him during the episode because I wanted to save it here. My AL pitcher of the week is Eduardo Rodriguez of the Detroit Tigers. It was the only right answer, if I'm being quite honest. Thank you, Eduardo Rodriguez. So today or Sunday against the Orioles, he took a perfect game into the 7th inning. Unfortunately, gave up a hit in the 7th, which sucks. But he had 2 starts last week, and in those 2 starts, one was against the Guardians, one was against the Orioles. Combined, he went 15 innings pitched, giving up just 5 hits, no earned runs, no walks, and 16 strikeouts.
Goddamn.
What a performance.
Yep. 2
incredible starts back to back. One of them had a somewhat perfect game bid, only 1 hit. Very good for Eduardo Rodriguez. He missed a lot of time last season, if not the entire season.
Almost the entire season.
And I'm glad to see him pitching again, and he has been dominant. Considering the Tigers are currently 7-13, he has been the brightest spot of the Detroit Tigers so far.
And just to put it out there for anyone who doesn't know, he missed time for personal reasons, and obviously we don't know exactly what was going on. No disrespect to him. I'm just happy to say that he's back in baseball and pitching to a level that we hadn't seen in 2 years when he was in Boston.
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for Eduardo Rodriguez. Clap it up.
Eduardo Rodriguez, AL Pitcher of the Week. Lewis, NL Pitcher of the Week.
My NL Pitcher of the Week, I mean, I think that this is as obvious as it gets. Zach Gallen of the Arizona Diamondbacks, absolute stud. Threw in 2 games this week. Went 6 2/3 innings against the Miami Marlins, a team that traded him away. 2 hits, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts, no walks. Then, on the 21st, he went 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, and 11 strikeouts against the San Diego Padres, in which the Diamondbacks won. And set a new Diamondbacks record for most innings pitched without allowing a run, which... If you don't know, he
consecutive innings pitched.
Consecutive innings pitched. Yes, my apologies.
Wait, I thought how many innings? Doesn't he hold that record? Isn't it like 40?
Yeah, I just said he just set the record, the new record.
No, I thought it was like 47 or something.
It's 41 1/3 innings is now the new record. That's what Zach Gallen is at.
Wow.
Which brings me to the question of can he break the all-time record? It's held by Oral Hershiser. It is 59 innings flat. Already Zach Gallen is, I believe, 8th all-time in, he is 8th as of right now with, when it comes to most runs consecutively without allowing, most innings consecutively pitched without allowing a run. Could he break Oral Hershiser's record of 59 innings?
I mean, he could. He's getting there. What is
he? He has looked dominant.
What'd you say, 43 1/3?
41 1/3.
I'm seeing 42 consecutive is the record
I see
for Diamondbacks.
No, it's 39 2/3 or 40 2/3. I know that he just set it on Saturday. He set the new record. He passed. Wow, that's embarrassing.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
I'm reading something right now. 8 games and 44 1/3 innings. 44 1/3 innings pitched. This was last season. I remember. I'm only remembering this because this literally happened last season. So I'm not 100% sure. The jury's out, but I think he can beat Hershiser's record. When you think about it, this is the 2nd season in a row he's done this.
Yep.
Which is mind-boggling.
Absolutely mind-boggling.
How do you do that? Whatever.
I wish I could tell you.
Zach Gallen.
Been otherworldly.
Zach Gallen, Pitcher of the Week. Good for him. How has Zach Gallen already pitched? How has he already pitched that many innings this season?
It's called being a dog.
He's only pitched 31 1/3 innings.
Yep.
No, that can't be the record.
It's also from last season. Wait, no, even then.
Yeah, I think what you might have read something wrong.
He's drawn 20 and 2/3 innings. I don't even know what the fuck I read. Whatever. All right, then void everything I just fucking said. Who gives a shit anymore?
Whoa.
Go Diamondbacks. Go Zach Gallen. I believe I took him to win NL Cy Young. Looking very good. If the season ended today, he would probably win it.
No.
You want to think about that again?
Maybe. Stroman's up there.
He imploded today a little bit, so.
Yeah, but he's still got a 2.17 ERA. He's only given up 7 earned runs all season. So.
Well, back to Zach Gallen. Good job, Zach Gallen.
Zach Gallen.
Hard to do what he's doing.
And that should do it, right? Anything else? Any closing comments? Let's go baseball.
Let's go baseball, baby.
A couple of series that I'm looking forward to next week, rather this upcoming week. I want to say yes, that Twins Astros series that we will be seeing throughout this week. What else do we have? Just kind of skimming through what could be kind of fun. Dodgers Pirates. Can the Pirates sweep the Dodgers again this season?
With how good they're playing, it would not surprise me.
And the Pirates are playing really good. I think that's a storyline to look for. Mariners Phillies. 2 teams that have struggled out the gates, but of recent have been a lot better. That's a big thing to look for. I'm going to be watching a lot of Padres just because I like watching Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto.
Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah.
To think all those guys are in one lineup is crazy.
But yeah, those I'd say the top couple series this week are going to be Rays Astros, Pirates Dodgers, and we'll give it to Phillies Mariners. Mm-hmm. So yeah, clap it up for the baseball. The baseball. We thank you guys for listening, watching, viewing, subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing. If you're still here watching, we love you. And wow, he's got the glove. And thank you. We will see you guys. If you enjoyed, again, share with your friends. We're trying to continue to grow throughout this season. So yeah, let's continue to grow. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.